Hello everybody and welcome back to my small farm channel. Today we are exploring something I've never really tried before, but we are attempting to store the carrot harvest for over the winter. And I did a little research here on YouTube and Google and stuff, and they all gave me the same solution. I didn't really believe it. Saw a gentleman in town who's clearly got more years gardening than I do. He was pulling up all his carrots today, so we asked him what he does. This is what he does, so I'm guessing it's a proven kind of thing. So yes, storing carrots for the winter is first. We'll see. Now Shocks and I have been pillaging these carrots, and it's not a full patch by any means anymore, but weather's getting colder. Snow is moving east quite rapidly. Heard there was snow in Calgary last night, so yes, I'm bringing in the carrots today. Some pretty decent clumps. I don't know if you follow the main channel or not, but I didn't bother to thin out my carrots this year. Kind of figured fate would do what it did, or what it wanted I should say, and I have to say, for the most part, these carrots are pulling up fairly well. That one there, of course, it's got to be the exception. And they've got some decent size and shape to them. They're Danvers carrots, so they're supposed to be kind of short and chubby. So here we have everything that was left in those two rows that were pretty pillaged. To me, this is quite a few carrots, and most of them did all right. See a slug on that one. He's pretty quick to act. Got a couple had some problems. That's straight compost, as is that. I'll take the tops though, because I'm drying the tops for fish feed, but that's an entirely different thing. I did get a few freaky looking carrots out of all of that from the not thinning, and it is worth mentioning that these longer, skinnier variety of carrots had a lot more difficulty, well, being that close together, whereas these broader, shorter Danvers just shoved each other out of the way, no problem. And these skinny ones did tie up on each other, so that is something to bear in mind if you're going to let Darwin thin your carrots. Anyway, I need to bag all these up, and then we'll weigh them without the greens, find out what we got, and then take them downstairs for long-term storage. So the plan is, we've got these kind of wicker totes. They were like display totes or something at some point in time. We're going to start layering in the peat moss and the carrots and the peat moss. Shocks is going to come do some camera work, I believe, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about as we do this. And they say this will keep the carrots right through till next summer, especially since it's kind of consistently cool-ish down here in the dungeon. So the first thing we need here is to put in a decent layer of our peat moss, enough to cover the bottom. Doesn't have to be terribly thick, but we do want to cover it. From there, I just lost my scissors. We're going to move over to our pile of carrots. I'm going to cut the top off them so they're like this, which is simple enough. Now the gentleman in town who was doing this was cutting the top off the actual carrot. My goal here is to leave it as sealed as possible. We haven't washed it. Anything that's even been nicked by a fingernail is upstairs for more immediate consumption. So we've got our basic carrots prepped like so. No point in throwing something away. Carrot greens are a good healthy snack for a lot of different creatures. So I'm going to save these. I'm going to bundle them, hang them to dry, and then I'm going to use them as goldfish food for the aquaponic garden. Maybe even give some of them to the chickens once they get here. So let's get started working our way through this tub and seeing how many of these carrots we can store for the winter. We want to make sure to leave space in between each carrot, like you can see here. It feels a little bit wasteful, that's why we've got the second tub, but are you really wasting it if you're storing it long term, you know? So let's just play the slidey puzzle game, see what we can do. Get back to you when this first layer is finished. So here we have our first row of carrots. We've got these little tiny tap roots that are touching a little bit. I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem, but you gotta learn somewhere. So now I'm just going to gently pile on the peat moss and do it again. None of the videos or blogs that I checked were really all that specific on how deep this layer should be, but they were all quite specific that the carrots should be separated by layers of peat moss. So no such thing as too much, I guess. Gonna carry on. So what we ended up with here is 2 of these baskets basically full. It's pretty close with this one. It's as close as I'm willing to call it with that one. Of a surprisingly large number of carrots that I forgot to weigh. Sorry, folks. Over here we can see that we didn't use very much of the bale of peat moss at all. I was expecting to have to use a lot more of that. And we've still got our recently killed and gathered collection of smaller carrots. Get them while they're young and tender, just like eating children at the holidays. Get them while they're young. Alright, folks. Thank you for joining me here on my small farm channel for this perfectly random video on attempting to preserve carrots for the winter. Take care, everybody.